morning, Facebook family, friends, my faithful loyal YouTube subscribers. Today is September the 11th. The year is 2018. I'm here with my mother, Alberta Hampton. And we just got through watching Reverend Jasper Williams' eulogy for Aretha Franklin. And it's been very controversial. A lot of people want to know my mother's opinion and what she thought about some of the stuff he had to say. So, Mama, here's the floor for you. What did you, based upon what you've seen so far, what he said in the... Because have you seen the entire... You haven't seen the entire...
No, not the entire.
But you saw some snippets of it. We were just watching some of it now.
What impressed me is that he had a platform, and he took advantage of that platform to bring out the black neighborhoods and the things that are going on in our lives. And I really appreciate that, because somebody needs to start talking about what's happening in Black America.
People were screaming and upset, saying that this wasn't the right place to do this, that he should not have done this at Aretha Franklin's funeral. What are your thoughts?
Well, when you got a platform, you got to take advantage of it. I don't care where it is, if it's at wherever it is, if it's on the streets, if you're in a restaurant, if it's at a school meeting, you have to let your heart talk. And I appreciate what he said, because our neighborhoods have become deplorable. The living people in our neighborhoods are not us anymore.
It's gotten horrible. We seem to have... I don't know if black people are ignoring it, or we don't see it, or we've become complacent, or we just...
Nobody talks about it. Nobody stands up and says, let's get this garbage out of our neighborhoods. Train your children not to throw trash on our streets. We live here. And if they don't respect it, the next generation will not respect it.
Do you think we've ended up in this, our neighborhoods have gone this far off a cliff because so many black single moms, so many single parents, so many single mothers? Is that part of the element, as he discussed in his sermon, that these women cannot raise a boy into a man?
No, they can't. But I think a lot of it is ignorance. We have a lot of ignorance in our neighbors, in our race. Truly a lot of ignorance. These young people, they have no knowledge about anything. There's nobody at home teaching them, because their parents weren't taught. It takes education to really, and I'm not talking about school education. I'm talking about just educating people within your home. You have to respect what God has given us.
But if nobody's at the home raising and educating these children... Okay, so what are your thoughts on single moms in our community? Are they having a negative impact on our communities?
Well, they've got to have a negative impact. You can't have a 16-year-old child with a child, and maybe 2 or 3 children, unfortunately. They don't know anything about raising a child. You don't know anything about really raising a child. Like you were bringing out some things to me the other day. You don't continue to try to enforce yourself on a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you get these kids trying to raise a child. They're children themselves. It takes time for us to develop.
Should more black women and men choose to get married before having children? Would that help the problem?
Well, that definitely would help the problem. But there's, like you were saying to me, you brought out the way the body works. When a girl gets a certain age, her body begins to cry for sex and the different things that bring about children.
Puberty. Nature comes in and plays a part. Women wouldn't have children if they didn't have a desire to have children. So nature... Naturally, it's in our bodies for women to desire to have children, and they have these kids. It's maybe a little bit too early in life. Although I am seeing some women have children later in life, but they're still choosing to raise this child alone. They're not incorporating marriage into their lives. Now, we had the conversation about marriage and black men, and I'm a firm believer that I don't think black women should just limit themselves to black men. If there aren't enough decent black men or they can't find a decent black man who wants to get married, raise children, create a family, create a family unit, maybe black women should look outside the African American and black race. There's nothing wrong with marrying a Chinese man, an Asian man, a Hispanic man, or whatever, Italian, I don't care what he is, as long as he is in agreement to providing a home and raising their children as a family unit. I don't see anything wrong with that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I might, to hear you say that, I have not pictured that in my head as becoming our only way out. But I think if I try, what I feel like that given an opportunity, some men become very good fathers and husbands and fathers, given the opportunity with the right.
But if they don't want to get married and they don't want to be a father, and they're telling you, I don't want to have a child at this point in my life. I don't want to have a child. I don't want to get married. Why would you try to? It wouldn't make sense to force this person into becoming a father and a husband when he clearly don't want that.
Well, I wasn't speaking about that.
Well, because I know a lot of women who have had children by men who made it clear they did not want to have a child, and these women did it anyway.
Well, I don't know. I think that would be a bad situation. I don't know if you maybe fall in love with the child, and some of them walk away from the situation.
Some of them try 70% of them. I think that's one of the reasons why you have so many unmarried women raising children along. They have children out of wedlock by men who don't want them, or not, who are at that time not ready to have children. That's why it's more important to first get married, in my opinion. Find a man who wants to marry you, who wants to raise children, who wants to have a family unit. And I don't care what the race of the person is.
Well, I'm going to say it like this. If you don't want to have children, there's plenty of things, condoms, plenty of things to keep you from impregnating a woman.
Oh, I agree.
So you're going to lay up there, you're going to enjoy all of this, but yet you don't want the child that you bring into the world. I don't hear that. Because there's ways to keep from impregnating a woman. So you must have wanted that child. Because once those two things come together, you're going to create. So they're just too young to understand. They're immature.
Well, I know some guys in their 30s and 40s who I have friends who have tons of children. And I just sit back. I have one friend, he has 8 children by 8 different women. And I just sit back, he's paying child support and all this chaos and confusion. I keep thinking to myself, why did you do this?
Right. Why did you do that? He didn't have to do it.
Why did you allow this to happen?
There's too many things on the market to stop you from having babies.
It just seems odd that you have 8 children by 8 different women.
Then you're going to say you don't want no kids. And
the children are they're turning into teenagers. It's just a very not good environment. You have all these children by these different women, and you're dealing with child support, and you're trying to pay bills. It's a lot. It's expensive. Children are expensive. So I understand I agree with what the pastor was saying about unwed mothers and the damage it is doing to our communities. I mean, all the crimes that I've seen recently in Atlanta, and these are teenagers who are committing these crimes, 14, 15, 16, 17 years of age.
Very young.
And they will kill you.
Very young.
Where are the parents? Why are they ripping around the streets at 15 years of age? What is going on here? That somebody's out 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning committing a crime when they should be at home in bed sleeping.
It is so unfortunate that these women are not prepared to raise these children.
They're not ready.
I don't care if it's a young girl or a young boy that they bring into the world.
You do agree with the pastor when he's made the comment, because people are upset about this, that a young, a woman, a black single mom, cannot raise a boy into a man.
Of course not. We can see that by the way that our boys are hitting the street and with no respect for anyone. They've not been raised. Because a woman cannot do it.
She can't do it alone.
They need a man to assist them.
Is that sexist for us to say that? Because people say that's sexist, and they use all kinds of terms to say that women can do this and women can do that. And I'm thinking, okay. Like you said, you look at you don't have to look very far. You can just look at our communities and see all this chaos and confusion going on.
It's so unfortunate. I think if a man would go ahead and marry the woman and put the children first, regardless if you didn't want them, but they're in the world now.
Mm-hmm.
And to apply your best to raising a decent human being. And children need to be loved. I don't care if it's a girl or a boy. They need love of a man and a mother.
And they need financial stability, Mama. Because I'm looking at these kids. I'm looking... When I go through these neighborhoods and I see these kids, and they're not getting the proper food and nutrition, they're growing up. It's like we don't see this stuff. I keep, because everybody can say everything's. I talk to people and they act like the black community is in doing just wonderful, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm seeing a part of Black America that they not see. Either we're ignoring this. Even in our own household, we discussed Mia and how her children were raised in an environment that we both agreed was not healthy for them at all. And so it creates this. But there are lots of parents today who are raising children in these horrible environments. And it just makes me wonder the poverty.
Well, I don't know. We have a lot of grandparents that are not grandparents anymore, and they're not helping the young woman or young man. You know, every generation should have someone that's going to show you how to raise or how to do this and that. You don't want to take over, but you need to talk with them. And one thing Mia did wrong was she separated herself from the family. And you can't do that. You've got to stick close. If you got mother and father that are still alive, you should try to learn from them.
She wanted to do her own thing.
And she made a big mistake.
She made a horrible mistake. But she's not the only person making that mistake. Like I said, I have a friend, I told you the story, a friend of mine from Miami's sister is here in Atlanta. She's living in a car with her children when she could be in Miami living with her family and they could provide and take care of her, but instead she chose to move to Atlanta. Somehow or another she ended up living in a car and she's got a GoFundMe account and she's only 26, 27, 28 years of age, living in a car in Atlanta trying to take care of these children, go back home to Miami.
But we don't know the situation in Miami, to be honest. They could be drug addicts, they could be
nope.
of no...
Her family members, were we drug addicts? Was there any drug? Well, Mia ran away from us when we were right there able to support and help her. None of us were drug addicts. Mia wanted to do her own thing.
And unfortunately, the children
she did not want to hear anything you nor I had to say, right?
Oh my God, she didn't.
Because we had provided a nice, I lived in a $1 million home up in Buckhead. Could she have come over there and stayed there with her children? Yeah, she could have, but she couldn't have come, but them kids could have came. But could she have come up there and lived, Mama? You had a nice home too? What was Mia's problem?
She was lazy as far as I could see.
But she didn't want you to have any say-so in her life, right? She wanted to do things her way.
That way, and she'd come in your house and she was lazy and you know, you trying to keep a decent home for everybody. She
didn't want nobody to say nothing to her children. Did she want you to discipline her children or have any say-so in their lives?
Mm-mm.
You couldn't say anything.
And because of that, the children thought we didn't care anything
So
about
this goes
them.
back to this woman here in Atlanta who's 27, 28 years of age, living in her car. And she got family members in Miami that she can go home to and they can help provide for her and her children. But she don't want to do that.
The children will suffer.
The children will suffer. But she's so stupid that she would rather those children suffer. Did Mia live in homeless shelters at one point in time, Mama?
Did she?
Yes, she did. Should she have been in a homeless shelter? Was there any need for this young girl to have those children?
She didn't have to be in a homeless
shelter. She
shelter.
did not have to be in a homeless shelter.
She had a family that was trying to reach out to her, but she refused our help.
She didn't want our help. Period. And then we have another generation of children doing the same thing. Walking down that same path. So I don't have any children.
Who is it?
Mia's daughter.
I think Mia's daughter's doing a fantastic job.
She lives an awful long way from anybody.
She said she's going to try to come back this way. That she's tired of being down there without people to help her with her children. But she's doing the best that she can. She's doing She's doing much better than her mother did. Mm-hmm. Much better.
Because she wanted something different.
Yeah, she's doing much better. She has a lovely home. It's clean.
When you look back over your parenting skills and being a grandmother, any regrets about how your grandchildren, could you have applied any of the lessons we learned from our lives with your children? Could they have been applied towards your grandchildren in any sort of way to correct some of these problems before they took place?
A lot of times, you have so many people interfering with the way that you raise your children, when they should butt out, as long as you're not killing them or depriving them. But you have to discipline your children. That's a part of life. And then, why would you come in and tell somebody that you can't whip your children, discipline them? You don't do that to people. You let them raise their children.
Do you think that you could have had more of a positive influence on your great-grandchildren's lives in retrospect if you had done some things differently?
Well, I'm going to put it like this. I don't have but one granddaughter, and the rest are boys. So boys have a tendency to love mother and grandmother. You don't have as many problems with men or boys as you do women. And I don't know why that is, but anyone could testify to the fact that the relationship with a daughter, or even a daughter-in-law, is not, sometimes it's real good, but sometimes it's a horrible situation.
So you have more of a closer relationship with your grandchildren?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
The boys?
I do.
Okay.
I really do.
Because if we're going to change any of this generational stuff, I think it starts with us. Right? Our family.
It does.
And some of the issues that we see taking place out here. But I don't think our family is any different than any other black family here in America. We have our issues and problems and stuff that our demons, so to speak, that we need to deal with.
Well, it's a part of life, and life has become very difficult now. Very.
If you make it difficult.
You don't have.
I don't have any children.
Well,
my life ain't difficult.
Yeah, but you can meet enough people out there in the street that you'll be glad to get home and close the door and leave them out there.
I leave them, and you know what, Mama? How often do you come over here and see people sitting over at this house and being entertained by it? How often I've changed tremendously from the Walter from 20 years ago. I'd have an entourage of people over here. Ain't nobody over here now but Vandy. When you come over here, you might see a few people, clients coming in and out, but most of the time, nobody's here, right?
They make your life miserable.
I can't be bothered with these people no more. I'm too old for that mess.
You come on in and close your door.
I come in, take a shower, close my door. I enjoy being in this house by myself. And I am fine with that. There's some days I don't even leave this house. I'm here all day doing whatever I want to do. If I might go to the gym or not, if not, I'm right here. I'm cool with it. I don't have to have an entourage of crazy people.
We live in a different world.
People crazy today.
What Jasper Williams was saying is, it's right to the T. You don't see parents at the school board meetings supporting the schools. Let's get out and have a cleanup day in our neighborhood. These things come from
filthy. Do black lives really matter, Mama? Do you think black lives matter to us, black people? That was what he was saying in his speeches, that black lives really don't matter to us.
The way we live, it's not us personally as human beings, but we've degenerated so that it's unreal. We used to be a clean set of people. We didn't lay around with every man that came along. We didn't walk around half naked or put on tight stuff for the men and look at our booty, which is a big mistake. Hard as we're working to get this weight off for us. Now you got all these young girls running around here picking up this weight. Diabetes and all these things that are created with extra weight on the body.
They want big hips and big butt.
Some of them, it's unreal. I mean, why did they let themselves fall into that trap? We were coming out of this situation with our weight. All along, black women have been heavy. Now they were dying of so many diseases. And then all of a sudden, this generation decides they want to be big.
Yeah. Something kind of weird.
They don't realize.
Well, they want big hips and a big butt. They want certain.
They're big. I don't care what it is.
Oh, I agree that it's not healthy.
Big. It's not healthy.
For these women who want to look like that, I agree it's not healthy. They're doing some unhealthy things to get their minds big like that. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, it's unreal. I don't even know who got in their mind and told them this was the way to carry themselves.
Yeah, well, maybe some hip hop rap artist videos.
Something got into their
Another
minds.
thing that Pastor discussed, he talked about the with desegregation, how the black community became disenfranchised and we lost so much stuff in our communities. We don't own grocery stores, radio stations. We don't own any gas station. We don't own anything. The vast majority of stuff in our communities are owned by foreigners, are people who live outside the black community, are people who don't look like us. Did he have a valid point?
He has a very valid point. But there's a spirit that controls black people to separate them. The rest of these communities are so close.
United.
But us as blacks, there's a spirit that's controlling us, wants to keep us down and from having
Separated,
anything.
even in relationships. I can tell you all about that. But yeah, relationships and family, you would think people would be more united. Right?
Of course.
But that's not the case.
That's not the case. We are so divided. So divided. You can walk into a store and they're acting. I'm thinking to myself, what is the matter with these black people?
It's sad. It's
You know,
very true.
instead of greeting each other.
I was at Publix on the south side yesterday. I never really go into that Publix. But it was the most unfriendliest group of people I've ever encountered. Where I'm out other places, people speaking. And you know what I did yesterday? I said, well, I'm going to speak to these people because something's wrong here. I know everybody's just walking around stone-faced, mad at the world. And I'm like, hey, when they look at me like, this nigga actually saying, hey. Why can't we communicate each other? Why can't we nod and say hi? Why can't we be kind to one another? Something's wrong in our communities. And again, people don't see this, but I see it frequently.
They see it. They realize that we aren't the type of people that we used to be so loving and kind towards each other. White, I'm not talking about a generation of people. I'm not talking about a race. But they never were as kind to each other as we used to be. We loved each other. But now we picked up this spirit of, like, we can't stand each other.
I make sure I smile when I see other black people. I smile and I speak for a reason because I'm so tired of that stone face. We walking by each other like because if we don't treat each other with love and respect, I don't know who else will. And maybe that's why I've been, I have less issues with people on the streets because I always smile and speak to people, especially if they look like me. Because I wanted to have a connection. I wanted them to, I was at that Publix and I was trying to figure out why everybody's so mean in the store. Off Cascade Road. We've been in a nice grocery store. These people, it was just weird. Maybe everybody had got off from work and was tired. The store was packed with people too. And the lines were long and I don't know, it just seemed odd. And maybe we take that personal. Maybe white folks do that to each other too. And we never really paid it much attention.
They used to do it. They used to be very cold towards each other compared to how we were. But looks like we've picked up their spirit of not being a loving, kind neighbor now. They put a big smile on their face when they're out in public like they love each other. Mm-hmm. You ain't fooling me.
So overall, you enjoyed the message that Pastor Williams spoke at.
I think that message should be broadcast everywhere because we've got to take a turnaround. We cannot continue down the path that we're going. We must turn around for the sake of this young generation that's going through hell and their offspring. We've got to come back to one another. And he was telling the truth. He had a platform and he used it, and I thank God he did.
I'm glad he did too. Well, we're going to conclude this video because we're already at about 24. Anything else you want to say before we finish this video?
I just want to say that we need to unite. You're always saying about the public school, but as of now, that's all we get. Parents have got to get back in it. When you all grew up, the parents were, I'm sure down here, I don't know, but the parents were very active in the school. And when parents are active in the school system, that school system will stand up and do what's right towards our children. But if don't nobody come up there till the shooting take place, you can forget it.
Yeah, parents.
They'll talk any kind of way to them, treat men with kind of way. The teachers walk around half naked, with their pretty faces and all this half clothes are hanging in front of these boys. This is unreal what we're going through.
All right, so we'll be back. I want my mother to look at a video of something she hasn't seen yet. I want to get her opinion on this. We'll be back in a few minutes. Today it is Tuesday, September the 11th. The year is 2018, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So I want you to look.